Our session this afternoon is on creating your virtual classroom. You may have seen these appear, especially during the March to June pandemic virtual learning time that we had. They became really popular on the internet. There were some help files out there that people did. And what I want to do is just go through creating a very basic one for you guys today. My contact information is right here, royfrancis@gnspes.ca, or you can follow me on Twitter at Mr. Roy_Francis. Send me a message anytime and I'll get back to you to give you a hand. I will let you know that earlier today I had a bit of trouble with the audio, the Wi-Fi connection. So if it's clipping, I apologize. Send me a little note in the messaging and I can start typing some of the information down. I created a video over lunch of the main part of the how to put the page together section in case it doesn't work. You'll also be able to go back and look at that later on as well. These slides will be in the Google Classroom, as well as the replay will be of the video of the session will be available through the SLA website at some point in the near future. In this session, I want to take you through the various steps involved in building a virtual classroom. If you saw some of the ones back in the spring, there are some incredibly in-depth ones that are incredibly immersive. They have multiple layers, links, websites, pages that they go to. It really became a functioning classroom. It's almost as if they took their class and moved it entirely online. You can go that route, but you don't have to start that way. You can start with one Google slide with images and links and build from there if you wish. As with any of our planning that we do in school, we really need to think with the end in mind. What is it that we want our students to get out of it? What is our goal? How do we want them to use it? What is its purpose? When you have the answer to those questions, they'll help you guide your choices as to what you design and build for your class. So is it going to be one page? Is it going to be multiple pages? This is the first one that I built that I'm going to show you guys. This year, I'm teaching grade 7 core French, grade 9 core French, and grade 9 civics. So I plan on having 3 to begin the year. And then as my themes and units change during the year, I'll be adding more pages and more slides. A few of the ways you can use it for a virtual class: classroom learning extension activities for those students who have completed their work and you want them to do an enrichment activity, extra help activities, videos. So if you made a video on how to do something in class and you want them to be able to go back and watch that again. I'm going to pick on Katrina because I know she's a music educator. So something on the strings, Katrina, you know, how you play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, you know, in a certain bowing technique. You might make that video for them. They can go back and watch that video again and again and again. They can play along with it. You might add useful links for students. As I'm teaching civics this year, I'm going to have links to the various levels of government. When we get into the election cycle, Elections Canada or Elections Nova Scotia, things like that, I want my students to be able to refer back to on a regular basis. You can use Google Classroom for some of these things as well, but it is nice to have a bit of an immersive area for students to go and look at. Another thing you can use it for is what do I do when I'm done activities. We all have students who complete their work ahead of others and they're sit left going, okay, what do I do now? Well, okay, go to my virtual classroom. In my virtual classroom, there are these activities. Some of them are extension activities. Some of them are depth and breadth so that they broaden their interests and their horizons within the framework of the course. It might not be necessarily what you're doing right now, but it's all related. So these are just a few of the ways, and people can come up with other ideas as they go along. Here is my virtual classroom for core French. And as I say, this is the first one that I made. It was very simple. I used it during that March to June period when I just wanted students who wanted to go and do something French related, because at that time we weren't doing core French in school. If they wanted to continue doing things, here are some basic things. So we have a basic background, and then we have images and links. I like to put a message of the day. You could change that every day. In this case, I've just got the Welcome Mr. F's Virtual Core French class, but you could write anything on there, and it's just a text box. I used images related to the activities that we make a visual connection to things. So music one here, students who connect on that are going to get taken to a video. And this is a video of me singing a song in French with the lyrics underneath. And what I wanted my students to do was to go and learn that song, practice it, and then later on record that. So it was an opportunity for them to immerse themselves in French culture. To make that video, I just used my iPhone to record myself singing it, and then I edited it in WeVideo to add the transitions and add the text. So they would click and it would take them there. Pardon me, I'm just going to close that tab. Next up, reading. La lecture is a foundation of our classes. So on the book tab, this would take them to a book that I had chosen based on the themes we were using in class. And this is read to them, and they can turn the pages as they go. Finally, and this is a great one for French immersion, this is my mini prof page. This calendar opens up to an entirely different Google slide presentation. And I'll show this to you guys. Here, students can go and practice the daily routines that we have in school. So if you're in an elementary classroom, for example, and one of your daily routines is to do the date every day, they would be able to practice doing the date. In my case, they practice doing the date in French. Or if it's talking about the weather. Things like that, they're all linked in here. And what I did was I recorded myself asking and answering the questions and giving all the dates. So they get to hear all the information. They get to hear the dates, the colors, the weather, and then they practice answering and asking the questions. But I'm going to stop and take us back to the main presentation. Does anyone have any questions so far? No questions so far? If you do, type it in the box or feel free to jump in and ask. All right, I'll continue along then. So our building materials. Google Slides is the program that I use to create them. There are other applications that you can use. Seesaw, SEESAW, is a website that some of us have access to in the province that we can use and actually will allow you to build a virtual classroom like this. I haven't explored it a whole lot yet. I do know that it is available in the HRC. It's approved as one of our resources. It's not available as a resource throughout the entire province. You can check on the EECD website to be able to check what resources are approved based on the privacy information for each of our regions. I like to include myself in here, so I use my Bitmojis, and that is the Bitmoji app. You can search for different poses in there as well as text. You can edit and you change the costumes and the clothing that you're wearing to suit the mood or the time of the year. If you're a hockey fan or a baseball fan, even some of the uniforms are there. You're also going to need images, either ones that you've created or pictures that you've taken, or ideally royalty-free so that you avoid the copyright issues. There are a number of different websites that you can go to search for stock images that are royalty-free. Others might give you permission to use the image for free, but you have to give credit for it and say where it came from and who produced the image as part of your presentation and materials that you're putting together. You're also going to want to have the information, the resources. So if it's links, what are the web pages that you want it to load to? That's supposed to say links, not inks. I apologize. Resources, student assignments, if you're going to be linking to an assignment that you want people to complete, websites, the addresses for websites, or videos that you want them to be able to go and view. A really useful tool, and I'll show you how it works later on, is remove.bg. It removes the background from any image. And so that makes it really useful for when we want to get into pictures that we've taken. Maybe I want to take the sky out, for example, and I just want to have part of it. Or, I'm in the background and I just want a picture of a dog, so I can remove that part of it. In the next little section, I want to show you how we actually build the classroom itself. Now, earlier on today, this is where my audio started to really slow down. So I do have a video of this that's available in the presentation if it doesn't work. Simply let me know that there's a problem with the audio and we can switch to that. The first thing I'll do is show you how to add backgrounds. And then we'll add and edit some images. We'll change the size, we'll change the position, we'll change the color of some of them. Then we'll add some links, and then we'll add text to images for screen readers. This last point is something that's becoming really important now as we have more and more students using Google Read and Write and other screen readers. If we're presenting them with text or images or documents rather that are very graphic intense, Google doesn't interpret that other than to say it's an image, it's a picture. It can't tell you what's in it. It can only say there's a picture there. And so if we're providing those to students, we need to make sure that we're adding the details for them. And I'll show you how to do that really easily. It's something that web developers have been doing for a long time, and it's finally making its way into the more mainstream culture. Honestly, it's something that I haven't been thinking about for a long time myself, but as I learn more about universal design, I realize that it's something that we need to start incorporating. I'm just going to change the size of my screen here so that I can edit as we go along. And can everyone see that blue screen? Just give me a thumbs up or a yes if you can see it. Perfect. Thanks, Josie. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is add our backgrounds. Before I spend time creating a site like this, I like to get all my resources together. So I've got my images all in one place. I know basically what I want to use. It just saves time. So like in any good cooking show, I've already prepared some of this ahead of time. So I've already got the images in one place, and I'll show you how I add those in. To change the background on a Google slide, there is the black background button right here. Simply click on the background, and it's going to bring you up the options. Normally, you might be looking at a color or a gradient. In this case, we want to choose an image. So I'm going to say choose image. And you're going to go to wherever you have stored your images. You can do a Google image search if you wish. However, I know that I've saved mine in my Google Drive, and they're under my recent tabs because I just uploaded them this morning. But if they were in a folder, you would search to whatever folder you've stored them in. And while I'm waiting for that to load, I'm going to give a great plug to Megan's session on organizing your Google Drive. If you haven't taken an opportunity to learn about how to organize that, I highly recommend it. My Google Drive still looks like my desktop. Just all the stuff is all in one place. Oh, I'm going to grab this background, room 2. So you choose the image that you want as your background. And why can I not see my insert? And then hit insert. Hit done. Anything else that we put on top of it is layered over top of it. The background itself won't move. From here, you've got your blank canvas. You can start adding in your features. What do you want your classroom to look like? How do you want to personalize it? So, pardon me, I'm going to start by inserting my whiteboard. So now I'm going to go insert image and Google Drive in my case, but if you were uploading it, you could upload it, or if you had to search for it, you could search for one. And let that scroll through for a second. While that's loading, does anyone have any questions? Is the audio working okay? Perfect. It was about this time in the presentation last time we ran into some trouble, so. So I'm going to put my whiteboard in here. Again, select the image you want, hit insert. Wherever you want, resize it. As long as the image is selected and you have the squares, the little blue squares, and then you get the compass map here, you can move that around, click on it once, and drag and drop wherever you want on the screen. Now, maybe I want that to be a little bit smaller, so I'm going to go up into the corner, and I'm going to drag that down until I get it down to about the size that I want it to be. And I like my whiteboard to be a little bit higher off the floor, so I'm going to position it right there, and then that's my whiteboard. Now, every classroom has at least one table in it, so I'm going to add my table. Again, insert, choose the image wherever you have it stored, insert it. Oh, but look at that. I thought it was going to be a clear background and it's got a white background on it. What do I do now? This is where remove.bg comes in. We can actually make this a transparent background. I'm going to bring this over to remove.bg. I'm going to show you this website. This is remove.bg. As it says, removes an image background. Completely free, doesn't add any watermarks or anything like that. And you can use it one of two ways. You can drag and drop an image, or you can upload an image. Someone asked me earlier on if I can copy and paste. You can't copy and paste it. So it's either drag and drop or upload an image. So I'm going to click upload an image. I'm on my Chromebook, so it's going to open up my file storage on the Chromebook. And you're going to go to wherever your file is saved that you want to upload. So in this case, my recents. I'm going to choose my table. From there, the process is completely automated. You don't have to do a thing. It will analyze it and it will remove the background for you. As it says, preparing the upload. Oh, and I'm getting a problem with my internet connection now. I'll run that again for you. Can you still hear me?
Yep, the audio is fine.
Okay, someone give me a yes. Okay, good. So yeah, just go to set. I lost the internet for a second, so if it doesn't work again, then we can move on with a copy I made earlier. So again, the image that you want to work with. So there's our original with the white background. Now the removed background, and you simply download it. Going to save it into whatever your download folder is that you have. And we will go back over. I'm going to stop sharing that and come back over to our virtual class. I want to make sure I'm sharing the virtual classroom. Can you see my virtual classroom again? Someone
Your
say
screen
yes if they
share
can
is not
see it.
coming up for me. No.
Isn't okay. All right, so let's try that again. There we go. Just change the present again. Yeah, it didn't give me the option to change the tab back again like it has other times. So let's just go back into share again. And you should see it now.
Yeah, it's coming. We're good.
Do we see it now? Good. Good, excellent. So now I'm going to add that table back in. Oh, insert image. This time I'm going to upload it because I just saved that image. And it's not already in my Google Drive. And so I know it's in my recents. And there it is. I can see the table, remove BG preview, and I can see 1326. So I know that's the one we made just now. Hit open, that'll upload the image for us. And now we have our transparent table. I want to show you a couple other things related to these images. So I've shown you how to resize and move. Let me show you how to change the color. If you're working on a Chromebook, 2-finger tap on the mouse will bring up the menu. If you're working on a laptop or a desktop computer, that right click on the mouse will bring up the same menu. And you're going to go to Format Options. In here, there are a number of different things that you can do with your objects. You can change the position, you can change the size and the rotation as well. If you're going to start changing size from in here, I would recommend locking the aspect ratio. That keeps the length and width in proportion with each other. We've all seen those pictures where somebody's played with the size and somebody's face looks like it's really stretched out or their head looks really squished. Something doesn't look quite right. That's because they got the aspect ratio wrong. Another neat feature in here is the rotate. So with a table, it's not going to make a big difference. But let's say you had a couch and the couch was facing in the wrong direction. You want the couch, instead of facing one way, you want it to flip so it could be on the other side of the screen. You can flip something horizontally. You can also do rotations through 90 degrees or at various angles. But the one I want to look at right now is recolor. Nothing wrong with the black tabletop. I quite like that desk. I'd be quite happy to have that in my room as my table. But we all get to personalize things, so you can choose a bunch of different colors they have there. And you try out the ones that you like. Green. I'm not a huge fan of those colors, green and that blue going together. Doesn't work for me. So I just keep going down. Now I do happen to know that there's a nice gray one here that I do quite like. I like the gray and the blue together, so that's the one I'm going to go with. I'm happy with it there. I might want to change it, move it around, especially if I want to have my Bitmojis stand behind it or something like that. The other thing I wanted to show you with images is how to add labels to them. So again, you right click and get that menu. And you go to this one that says Alt Text, Alternative Text. Here it asks you for a title. So simply put in a quick title. If you want to add a description of the table or what's on the table, you could do that. If you were adding in a picture with a lot of detail, instead of saying picture of people, I might include some information about the setting, what's going on in the picture, something that will give the reader or the listener more details than it would just get from a description of table. So I could say gray table in the middle of the classroom has a laptop computer on it, something like that. And then when the screen reader is going through, it will read table and the description rather than saying image and then skipping it. The last thing I want to show you how to do is add a link. Really useful if you have all the links that you want to use ready ahead of time so that you can get into those files and just copy and paste your links over. Use them as hyperlinks, or if you're linking within the Google Slides, you can actually tell it to go from one slide to the next. That works fine as well. I'm going to create a link to an outside website. Actually, it's going to go to my video. So I'm going to click on the whiteboard and use that for my video. And I'm going to go Insert, Link. If you were linking to another slide within Google Slides, you could simply click down on the slides in this presentation and choose what slide it's going to go to. If you wanted to go to an outside site, page, resource, there you're going to have the website address. And my document with mine has just frozen. Let me see if I can just get into it really easily. Any questions while I'm just waiting for that to load? Okay, it's just spinning its wheels. So why don't we just put in nice, safe website. Students were to click on that, it's going to take them to the news of the day at cbc.ca. Hit apply. And now when it's in the present mode, if students were to click on this, it would take them to the CBC website. Links are as easy to add as that. We can add in more pieces. You can make things smaller. As I said, you can add in layers so that this screen would take you to another part of the virtual classroom with more information that would be another side of the room, for example, something like that. What I want to do now, it's 1:35. I'd like to give you 10 or 15 minutes to explore starting to create a Google Classroom or Google virtual room rather from within Google Classroom. So over in Google Classroom, I have created a assignment, as it were, that is Google Slides, Virtual Classroom Creation Workspace. And I've also added in some of the images that I use today that you can use to explore, or you can go and add some of your own. If you want a copy of the mini prof activity, I have that there as well.